wonder if they will even exist.
We are plundering our children's heritage for our present unsustainable practices.
Notre maison brûle.
The key is to come out from Johannesburg with a credible commitment to action.
Now is your moment
to save ourselves and the planet for our children.
We can fix this. We can stop this madness.
Accelerated climate change is here right now.
I will link arms with those marching for climate action.
We, baby, are going to fight. Mommy, Daddy, your president too. We will all fight.
We are experiencing a process that is linking our nations and communities much more closely together than they have ever been before. Our lives are intertwined via the food we eat, the music we listen to, the information we get, and the ideas we hold. Last year, the world's leaders unanimously committed to eliminate extreme poverty, address climate change, and build more resilient societies. In the Agenda 2030, we have a blueprint for sustainable development. Now the real work and the real opportunities begin. The potential offered by these new Sustainable Development Goals and the binding treaty on climate change is immense.
It is a new chapter of hope for the world.
It is we, the peoples, who are embarking today on a journey towards a more sustainable and equitable future. Our journey will involve governments, the United Nations system and other international institutions, local authorities, indigenous peoples, civil society, business and the private sector, the scientific and the academic community, and all people.
Because we deserve to do more than just survive. We deserve to thrive.
This interconnectedness among humans on the planet is creating a global village, where the barriers of national and international boundaries become less relevant and the world a smaller place. The road ahead may be fraught with difficulties, challenges, and struggles, but we must dare each other to be visionary, to be ambitious, to be leaders. Given the opportunity, we can raise ourselves. We must join hands with the rest of creation and speak of common sense, responsibility, solidarity, and peace. We have all the tools. We are standing in front of an opportunity to change the course of life on the planet. Let's work together to make this world better, where everybody can live with dignity and abundance. Our future starts now. When you are named a faith keeper of the Onondaga Council of Chiefs, and for me, it was 51 years ago, you are told that we are now placing in your hands all life, and it is your responsibility to look after all life. Every person, every tree, every animal, every stream, and the earth itself, unto the 7th generation. In 1972, the world started a process that is mapping our future. The United Nations Conference on the Human Environment held in Stockholm brought the industrialized and developing nations together to delineate the rights of people to a healthy and productive environment.
The environmental crisis will profoundly alter our planet.
Fossil fuels is slowly warming the globe.
Our report is founded upon the concept of sustainable development.
We all have two hands and the sentiment of the world.
Now I wonder if they will even exist.
We are plundering our children's heritage for our present unsustainable practices.
Notre maison brûle.
The key is to come out from Johannesburg with a credible commitment to action.
Now is your moment
to save ourselves and the planet for our children.
We can fix this. We can stop this madness.
Accelerated climate change is here right now.
I will link arms with those marching for climate action.
We, baby, are going to fight. Mommy, Daddy, your president too. We will all fight.
We are experiencing a process that is linking our nations and communities much more closely together than they have ever been before. Our lives are intertwined via the food we eat, the music we listen to, the information we get, and the ideas we hold. Last year, the world's leaders unanimously committed to eliminate extreme poverty, address climate change, and build more resilient societies. In the Agenda 2030, we have a blueprint for sustainable development. Now the real work and the real opportunities begin. The potential offered by these new Sustainable Development Goals and the binding treaty on climate change is immense.
It is a new chapter of hope for the world.
It is we, the peoples, who are embarking today on a journey towards a more sustainable and equitable future. Our journey will involve governments, the United Nations system and other international institutions, local authorities, indigenous peoples, civil society, business and the private sector, the scientific and the academic community, and all people.
Because we deserve to do more than just survive. We deserve to thrive.
This interconnectedness among humans on the planet is creating a global village where the barriers of national and international boundaries become less relevant and the world a smaller place. The road ahead may be fraught with difficulties, challenges, and struggles, but we must dare each other to be visionary, to be ambitious, to be leaders. Given the opportunity, we can raise ourselves. We must join hands with the rest of creation and speak of common sense, responsibility, solidarity, and peace. We have all the tools. We are standing in front of an opportunity to change the course of life on the planet. Let's work together to make this world better, where everybody can live with dignity and abundance. Our future starts now. To leave no one behind, we must all lead.
We can be.
We must be the first generation to end extreme poverty.
The generation
most determined
to fight injustice and inequalities.
The generation that saves the planet from climate change.
And this is how it will get done. The global goals.
A 15-year plan
For everyone. Everywhere.
With no one left behind.
We will live in a world
where nobody
anywhere lives in extreme poverty.
Where no one
goes hungry.
where no one wakes in the morning
Asking if there will be food today.
We will live in a world where no child has to die.
Diseases we know how to cure. And where proper health care
Is a lifelong right for us all.
We will live in a world where
Everyone goes to school
And education gives us the knowledge
and skills
for a fulfilling life.
We will live in a world where all girls and all women have equal opportunities
To thrive and be powerful
and safe.
We cannot succeed if half the world is headed back.
we will live in a world
where all people can get clean water
And proper toilets at home,
at school and at work.
We will live in a world where there is sustainable energy for everyone.
heat, light,
And power for the whole planet.
Without destroying the planet.
We will live in a world where economies prosper.
and new wealth.
lead to decent jobs.
For everyone.
And we will live in a world
Where our industry
our infrastructure and our
Best innovations.
Are not just used to make money, but to make all our lives better.
We will live in a world
Where prejudices and extremes of inequality
Are defeated.
Inside our countries.
And between different countries.
Where people live in cities and communities
that are safe, progressive,
and support everyone who lives there.
where we replace
What we consume.
Planet where we put back what we take out of the earth.
We live in a world that is decisively rolling back from climate
change.
where we restore and protect the life in our oceans and seas. Where we restore
and protect
life on land.
The forests,
Animals.
the earth itself.
with peace between and inside countries.
where all governments are open.
And answer to us for what they do at home and abroad.
And the justice rules.
With everyone equal before the law.
Where all countries and we their people.
Work together.
Partnerships of all kinds.
To make these goals a reality.
These are the United Nations global goals
for sustainable development.
Let's get to work. Let's make it happen.
We can be.
We must be the first generation to end extreme poverty.
The generation
Most determined
to fight injustice and inequalities.
The generation that saves the planet from climate change.
And this is how it will get done. The global goals.
A 15-year plan
For everyone. Everywhere.
with no one left behind.
We will live in a world
Where nobody
Anywhere
lives in extreme poverty.
Where no one
goes hungry.
Where no one
Wakes in the morning.
asking if there will be food today. We will live in a world where no child has to die.
Diseases we know how to cure. And where proper health care
is a lifelong right for us all.
We will live in a world where
Everyone goes to school
and education gives us the knowledge
and skills
for a fulfilling life.
We will live in a world where all girls and all women have equal opportunities
to thrive
And be powerful.
and safe.
We cannot succeed if half the world is headed back.
We will live in a world
where all people can get clean water
And proper toilets
at home, at school, and at work.
We will live in a world where
there is sustainable energy for everyone.
Heat, light.
And power for the whole planet.
without destroying the planet.
We'll live in a world where economies prosper.
and new wealth.
Lead to decent jobs.
For everyone.
And we will live in a world where our industry
Our infrastructure and our
Best innovations.
Are not just used to make money, but to make all our lives better.
We will live in a world
where prejudices and extremes of inequality
Are defeated.
Inside our countries,
And between different countries.
Where people live in cities and communities
that are safe, progressive,
and support everyone who lives there.
where we replace
what we consume.
Planet where we put back what we take out of the earth.
We live in a world that is decisively rolling back from climate
change.
where we restore and protect the life in our oceans and seas. We'll restore
And protect life on land.
The forests,
Animals.
the earth itself.
with peace between and inside countries.
Where all governments are open.
And answer to us for what they do at home and abroad.
And the justice rules.
With everyone equal before the law.
Where all countries and we their people
Work together
partnerships of all kinds
to make these goals a reality.
These are the United Nations global goals
for sustainable development.
Let's get to work. Let's make it happen.
Yes, a very good afternoon to you all, and welcome to the Nigeria SDG Changemakers Forum today. Like you heard from the video, the time is now. Let's make it happen. Yes, thank you all very much for taking time out of our busy schedule to be in this program today, and I'm really excited to see different faces, a lot of people joining in from different parts of the country, both locally and internationally. Really excited for this, and trust me, I'm also here to learn a whole lot from our amazing speakers that we have today. And yes, a quick one. I just want to let us use our chat to quickly express our expectations for the Changemakers Forum activity today. What do you expect? What do you think we are bringing on board today? What's your what do you think the focus is like? What's your expectation? Bring it on. Use the chat box and let's see what our participants expect to learn today. Okay, Ali McIntyre said SDGs. Yes, definitely. From the team SDG Changemakers Forum, definitely. Bring it on, bring it on. What do you expect to see from today's Changemakers Forum? Kindly use the chat box. I'm still saying SDG 6. Catherine Omego said, how we can contribute to the movement. I'm an SDG enthusiast. Oh, more like a question. Okay. All right. Well, yes, you all are in one way or the other correct? Okay, Ogenetejuri, if I got your name correctly, said tools for impact, especially from a personal perspective. All right, I'll just do a short brief for the focus of today's program. My name is Oluwatoyin Odulano, the Ed Programs and Operations for SCSN Youth Nigeria, and it's a privilege to be here today amidst everyone. And yes, for the Nigeria SDG Changemakers Forum, it's a high-level youth-focused platform that is designed to convene young leaders. As we all know that youth are the driving force for a lot of changes, of the change we intend to see in different aspects of the society. So this forum recognizes the transformative potential of youth as drivers of social innovation, community resilience, and policy advocacy. So it is deliberately structured to bridge this gap between local youth actions and the global SDG agenda. So this forum is really one that we as youth can see how we can get to leverage on different platforms, also get to know how to integrate our policies into actions, and also know how to ensure that the mission and goal of the SDGs is achieved within the desired time. So once again, I'm going to say welcome to you all joining from different parts of the country. It's good to have you all joining. Thank you very much. All right, I'll quickly move on to the next thing on the agenda, where we'll be having our opening remarks. Our opening remarks will be done by our network coordinator, Mr. Emmanuel Ola Olowoyo, who will be sharing with us some insights. Welcome, sir. Thank you. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Oluwatoyin, and good day to our esteemed change makers that are on this call. We are glad to have you all in today's 2025 Nigeria SDG Changemakers Forum. And I want to first acknowledge the presence of our distinguished keynote speaker, guest speakers, fellow leaders and change makers that are on this call this afternoon. It's good to have you all join us today in this great occasion. And I think it's still in place for me to wish each and everyone happy International Youth Celebration. Yes, it's a month. It's a month of we getting to celebrate the great works which you're doing across your respective countries, across your respective communities. And on behalf of the leadership of SDSN and SDA in person of Professor Ngozi Odiaka, I also want to welcome each and every one of you to this Changemakers Forum today. And it's a great delight and honor to welcome you. And we believe that we are not just gathered here for another event of International Youth Day. We are gathered here to strategically think about how we can make a real movement, a movement that reaffirms the power of young people to transform our communities and also our nation and across Africa as a whole. I believe that, yeah, we all know that the SDG definitely keeps reminding us every day that the future we seek must be inclusive, must be resilient, and also must be sustainable in such a way that the future generation must meet their own needs. And yeah, the truth is we can't leave that alone to the government and institutions alone. It's important we get to build this step by step, action by action, and ensuring that every young people, like each and everyone on this call, it's very who refuse to accept the limitation of today and instead dare to create tangible solutions and possibility for tomorrow. And here in Nigeria and across Africa, because we believe that there are a lot of youth joining from different parts of Nigeria. You are already leading groundbreaking initiatives in your respective communities, across maybe initiatives around education, agriculture, climate action, digital innovation, and the likes. But as powerful as this local action is, there is a need for us to know that it becomes more stronger when we all come together, break barriers, and also share ideas. And, beyond that, build partnership, just like SDG 17 says, partnership for the goals, not just within our cities alone, across borders. And, this is a focus of today's forum, whereby we can all get to come together to connect and also to inspire each other and accelerate the change together. And I want to also remind each and every one of us that, the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development is closer than when it was first adopted in 25th September 2015. And with this short time we have, less than 5 years that we have, the progress on SDGs still remains uneven. I think you definitely know the recent Sustainable Development Report that was published. Yes, and there is a need for us to come up with actions, tangible solutions to accelerate more impact across board. And we believe that we can achieve this as great youths and change makers. We believe that the youth have the population, we have the population, we have the energy, we have the creativity and the skill sets. So there is a need for us to move beyond advocacy. There's a need for us to move into concrete action, and whereby we can start having scalable solutions across each of these SDGs. And this evening and afternoon, whichever time you are joining from in your country, we believe that as you take action, please don't do it alone. Just like one of my mentors, Reverend Yeboda, always says that don't live life alone. Collaboration is key. Collaboration is essential for us to achieve lasting change. And if you are asking that, when is the time for you to start driving that action? The time is now. The time is now. You have to be the change you wish to see in the world. So as we begin today, I want to encourage each and every one of us to ensure we engage fully and be open to communication. The Q&A session is there for you to drop your questions for our esteemed keynotes, and also to drop your questions for the panelists. And also, we want you to leave this forum not only inspired, but also with a renewed commitment. With that heart to act and to collaborate and also to transform across board. Because yes, we believe that when young people unite for their SDGs, there is no challenge too great, and there is no barrier too strong, and there is no dream too distant for us. And once again, on behalf of SDGs Roots Nigeria, we want to say thank you all and welcome once again to the Nigerian SDG Changemakers Forum. We hope that, yes, next year edition is going to be a physical event, bringing each and everybody together, and we believe together we can fuel and accelerate a sustainable future for all. Thank you once again, and we wish you a very productive and insightful event. Thank you, Oluwatoyin.
Many thanks, sir, for the amazing insights shared. And we can all hear what our network coordinator said. He said collaboration is key, very key. Across our different activities, collaboration is key. Thank you very much. All right, we'll move on to the next on our agenda, and I'm really excited for this section. We'll be having our keynote address from our keynote speaker today, who will be taking us through empowering youth-led organizations for lasting change and impact. And I'm sure we all are ready to have a takeaway from this section. So please, let's ensure that we get the very best from this section. Our keynote speaker, Yumna Khan, the Director, Youth Assembly, the Youth Assembly and Strategic Youth Initiatives, New York, United States. We are very much excited to have you here to take us through this section. And I'll just do a brief read into her bio. Yumna is serves as the Director of the Youth Assembly and Strategic Youth Initiative at AFS Intercultural Programs, and she's deeply committed to placing youth at the forefront of global development. And our work is also driven by a passion for fostering peace, justice, and sustainability. So yes, join me as I welcome her to take us through this section. A very warm welcome to you, Yumna Khan. Thank you. Over to you.
Thank you so much, and a very good afternoon or evening, depending on where you're joining from. I'm in New York, so it's very early for me. It's about 9 a.m. here in New York City, but it's really exciting to be able to connect with youth in your part of the world. I work with a lot of young people from all across the globe, which is really exciting. Of course, the opportunity to be able to collaborate with youth minds, no matter where we're located, it's just phenomenal that you get that opportunity in 2025. So a little bit about me. My name is Yumna Khan. I am the director of the AFS Youth Assembly. I want to quickly ask, how many of you know about the Youth Assembly or probably have attended it in the past? Feel free to add it in the chat. I'd like to see if anyone here has been to an event in the past or knows about it. So the Youth Assembly is a global platform for young people who want to work towards the Sustainable Development Goals. It really helps youth connect with like-minded peers, create impact in their communities, and it's really a place where if you as a young person want to start to do something for your community or your country, your region, you're able to find the type of youth and experts and partners to do that there. So I encourage you all to look into our youth assembly and see if that's something of interest to you, and feel free to apply as well. We have an event that comes up every year in August, and our August event, the 30th session, just ended a few days ago. So just wanted to put that out there. So why we're really here today is really about all of you in the room. And again, as I said, we work with young people from across the world. And so this is really exciting because I myself have a number of youth representatives who represent the Youth Assembly within Africa. And there's a lot of kind of movement and momentum that we see in the region of Africa around entrepreneurship, around youth trying to make a real impact. And so speaking to you all directly is really an honor for me. So thank you again for this opportunity. Now, when I look around this room, I know many of you might already have organizations, are into entrepreneurship, are already innovating something. You might be thinking of doing, solving a problem in your community, have started to do something on the ground, which is definitely something that I commend you for. And you really, are the heartbeat of the continent with the youngest population in the world. So, of course, as you know, 60% of Africa's population is under 25. And Nigeria alone has more young people than most countries on earth. So you yourself have just such a power within the country of Nigeria. So this is, of course, not just a statistic that I'm pointing out to, but also just a future that of the country and the region, and that you all represent. And it really depends on how you want to harness this creativity, the energy that you all bring, and as a leader, what type of leader you'd like to be. So what I'd like to really turn to is thinking about the strategy that you want to build as young leaders. So being passionate is important, but it's definitely not enough. We cannot build lasting change on energy alone. So to transform our societies, we must create impact that outlives us. So for that, we need visions, systems, and of course, scalability. That is what I want to share today. So I want to share insights and practical guidance on how youth-led organizations in Nigeria and, of course, across Africa can achieve sustainable and scalable long-term impact, from climate action to education, from justice to entrepreneurship. Youth-led organizations are driving transformation across the world. But the challenge is that passion, as I said, is very important to ignite something within you, but it's not enough to create lasting change. For that, you really need a vision. You need to look into which systems you need in place, and how you can scale those systems up in a way that will really create lasting impact. So I'm going to start with the first thing I want to share today, is around purpose and your vision to drive with resilience. So organizations survive when they are anchored in a clear purpose and vision. Many youth groups begin with energy around one campaign, and that's very powerful. But once the campaign ends or the funding might dry up, momentum fades sometimes. So what really helps you sustain is your vision. And so I want to really hone into this point of your vision. And many of you who have organizations know how important this is. But sometimes it's also a very good, just a good exercise to reflect upon that and really understand, is what the vision that I have already created really serving the purpose that I want to go towards? So 3 practical steps here. Crafting your North Star, ask, what problem are we solving and what world do we imagine in 20 years from now, for example? And then translate that into a mission of what we do, for whom do we do that, and why do we do it? Building a story around it. So a narrative that people can really believe in, and so that you can also very clearly communicate. When your why is clear as a young leader, it really helps to set back anything that's temporary, a challenge. It helps you understand and ground yourself into the work that you really want to do. Your impact can really outlive even the people who founded the organization once the vision and the mission of your organization is very clear. Bonus tip in this, I would like to just point out, is try to do as much reading as you can and research into the topic or the areas that you're focusing on, and talk to as many people as you can about that. That really helps to just remove any challenges or uncertainties around the work that you're doing, and helps you really focus in on what it is that you're tackling. So the reading, research, and talking, I think of it as like an RRT is a ritual that every organization should be doing, no matter where you are within the time frame, if you've just started or if you're very much advanced into the work that you're doing. And then when it comes to solution building, running an organization is really about having as much information at your fingertips as possible. As I said, no matter where you are at in terms of the organization and how it's built up, as much information you can have about that issue, about what's happening around in the community on that issue at any given time, that information is really going to be powerful to help you rethink about your mission, making sure your mission is serving the goals and the purpose that you've set out in the beginning. So that is key. Now, the second thing I want to come to is sustainability comes from systems, not only funding. Of course, funding is a very, very important thing for any organization to survive. But you really have to start with systems to help make sure that the funding continues and flourishes. So we often think of sustainability as fundraising, but the real sustainability is about continuity and resilience. A few ways of thinking about it. So the first thing here is diversifying your funding. Having just one grant or one donor is never enough. Looking at community fundraising, social enterprises, or even private sector partnerships, any individual donors which you'd like to work with. There's just so many ways to think about funding. So always think what else I can do or think about that really is something that's relevant for the community I work in, that is something that's working better for my organization, and think about those types of funding mechanisms. The next thing is capturing your knowledge. So making sure you're putting together everything you've been able to put together in your organization into some guides or a handbook, anything that you feel like can be passed on. Your knowledge can be passed on to someone else who would be taking that position or who can lead that forward, even if you no longer are involved as directly. And that comes to my second point here, is investing in your future leaders. So in any organization, there's always many changes that come about, right? So you have a team that you start with at the very beginning that might not be the same team that you're ending with, where you are today. So always try to find youth or young members who you can mentor, who can help build a pipeline of people who will carry that mission forward for you in your organization. So build a strong team that has various relevant backgrounds and skill sets, which really helps to make sure that there are people on the team that are thinking about all types of possibilities, all types of solutions and challenges that you might come across. And I think that is one of the most the biggest opportunity you can build from within your organization. Okay, so just going back to that point, funding might help start your organization. It might help, move it forward, your mission, but systems really help you keep that organization and mission alive. The team that you have will carry that forward. So the next thing I want to talk about is scalability. Scaling impact is not just about doing more. It's, of course, also about digging deeper into what you're doing. So think about one of the best movies you've watched. Why was it really good? And it typically sets a strong tone from the beginning that something good will be coming up. And so just imagine, take a moment right now and think about the best movie you've watched and why you remember it. And many times sometimes, it's really entertaining, but many times it's the simple things. Like it has one very clear storyline, which really helped you to remember it, till now. And so I want to use that example as something you can apply in your work. So think about what your storyline is, what that main focus is within your organization that you are telling to other people. So when building a sustainable organization, you must have one focus that you are working towards. Too often we rush into having more projects, more campaigns, or just more arms coming out of our organization. But the real impact really grows when you're really digging deeper into the focus of your organization and building that out to be something very strong. So some practical tips in this area is starting small with one focus that you can build deeper and look into as a team. Measuring the impact, not the activity. So that is really, really important. I'm going to talk about impact a little later as well, but everything comes down to, of course, who you are as an organization, why you started, but also the impact that you're creating. And I want to talk about that in a bit. But here, don't just count the number of workshops or the activities that you're doing, but really track what actually you've been able to change in people's lives and how you've changed people's lives. Build partnerships that are strategic. So to find partners in various sectors is really, really important. Don't just go after one type of partner or someone in one sector. So if you are a nonprofit organization, it's very healthy to go into looking at private sector partners or global institutions, even local community grassroots groups and advocacy groups that you feel like you can work with. Sometimes just having a partner to help with your visibility of your organization can make all the difference. It's not only just about asking that partner for possible funding and becoming a sponsor. The visibility piece other organizations can help you with is a game changer, I believe. And then here, I want to just mention to not underestimate technology. So technology can carry your ideas across borders at almost no cost. So yes, many of you are based in the region of Africa or within Nigeria specifically. And you might want to carry your mission forward for your region, but also across the globe. And so always think about all the tools at your disposal. As a young person, you're very savvy already in that area that you can use to carry that work forward and across the globe even. So focus in here on what is that one thing you are doing in your organization that is your storyline. Dig deeper into it before creating additional storylines. And that's the takeaway I want to leave you with on that point, and just focusing on something that is very connected to the purpose you began with. Okay, and then I want to now bring your attention to some key factors that really help strengthen your organization's foundation. So the first is the well-being of you and your team is really, really important because burnout in the world of nonprofits or any type of organization is very real, especially if you are a founding youth leader, someone who's co-founded it, even just if you're part of that founding team. It's really difficult to be able to find that time to care about yourself and for your team to making sure everyone is doing well. And sustainable organizations always care for their team and the people they work with as much as they care for their mission. So try to find ways to make time within the work that you're doing, within the framework of what it is you're focusing on to help your team and yourself kind of get over that burnout feeling. The next thing I want to point you to is collaboration over competition. As youth leaders, you might feel like, oh, there's so many people, young people that are doing very similar things as me, and it might feel a bit competitive in that nature. But there's always a way that you can work together with other young people around you or organizations around you. And of course, as you know, when you work with additional partners or people, it not only helps you gain visibility, but also helps your mission go further. So always think about how I can collaborate with youth leaders, other people in my community, or organizations that are already running and working towards similar goals. And the last thing here, which I mentioned earlier about impact, is keeping your eye on the goal. Always ask yourself, what is it that I had set out to do at the beginning, and how have I achieved it? Are you prepared to answer as a young leader this one question that many sponsors, organizations, people who want to cover the work that you're doing will ask? The question is, how have you impacted lives? How has the work that you're doing really changing or transforming the lives of people around you? And to be able to answer that, you really need to think about the qualitative and the quantitative data that shows that impact. So both think about what numbers can I talk about, how many people, how many things that I've been able to impact, but also what stories can I tell of the people that I'm impacting? How has their life changed? And am I in a position right now as a young leader to be able to communicate that very clearly? And sometimes those answers are very clear and other times they're not, and that's okay. You know that you have a team, a foundation, a system set up where you can build upon all of those things and create that impact and be able to showcase it to the world. So impact is, of course, important. How you're communicating it, the data you're presenting is even more important. And then just want to close on bringing us back to everything we discussed today. So the first thing I talked about is anchoring yourself in your vision. First, being very clear on what your purpose was when you started and making sure your entire team that you're working with is also grounded in that vision. The next thing we spoke about was building systems, not just projects, to really make sure that you are sustaining your organization. And the last thing is on scalability, with looking in depth into one focus area to start with before you go and explore additional focus areas. So scalability with depth before breadth of work that you want to do. So youth-led organizations are not just projects, and I know there's so much more than that. You are serving as movements, you are laboratories of innovation, you're conscious of our society, and you really represent a voice of generations before us who often overlook many of the people that you represent. And that's something to be really proud of as young people. So the world isn't just watching, it is waiting for you, waiting for your voice, your vision, your courage. You are not just part of the change, you are the ones who are leading the change. And to go back to the point someone mentioned earlier is, as young leaders, many of you are leading organizations in your countries or regionally. You also just need to know who you are as a young leader, what purpose you carry, and how you are communicating that to the rest of the world. So what you do within your organization matters. It's the first thing that you are working on, but how you are showcasing yourself and your organization to the world is the next step you really want to work towards if you're not already looking into that. So that's what I want to leave you with. And I want to thank you so much for this opportunity. I hope some of the things I said were helpful. You've learned maybe something new or be able to reflect on something that helps you further hone into the work that you're doing. And I'm here for any other comments, but thank you again.
Amazing. That was totally insightful. Not even some. Everything was totally insightful. And I caught that part of research, the RRT, yeah? Read, research, and talk to as many people as possible, which is really key. Very, very genuine point. Thank you so much for this insight. And I'll just quickly throw it to the audience. I know that we all learned a whole lot, and I'm very sure a lot of people are curious to see what's up with some aspect of their work or something. So if you have a question for this section, kindly just drop it in the chat so that I can read it out and it can be addressed. But thank you very much, ma'am, for the insight shared. My notes are already piling up from the different discussions. Thank you so much for sharing all of that with us. Yes. And while we await the questions, some feedback. Okay. What an insightful section. Definitely. Thank you so much for the insight shared. Yes, you are not just part of the change, you are the one leading the change. And also, we need to ensure that we focus on something very connected with what we have begun with. And also, not underestimate technology, which is, yes, very, very key, very impactful. All right. Aha. Yes. Someone said collaboration over competition. Yes. We have very good students following up. I learned a whole lot. Interesting. So if you have your questions, kindly drop them in the chat or use the Q&A section to send them in shortly. Thank you. Okay, let's see. We have, all right. I think there's, okay, we'll definitely see how together across. This is about the recording. Okay, there's a question in the chat from Daniel. He's asking, how can I partner? I think I missed that question. Sorry. Daniel, kindly, okay. How can I partner with your action group in Nigeria for my local projects? Okay.
Do you want me to take that now, that question, or you want to take it? Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
Yes. You can proceed.
So any youth leader who's working on, and this goes for anyone in this call, of course. In particular, I work with the Youth Assembly with AFS Intercultural Programs. It's a nonprofit organization based here in the US. And the Youth Assembly is a conference that takes place every year in August. And I mentioned this previously in my intro. And we have youth leaders from over 100 countries who attend that every year. And most of our youth leaders are actually coming from Sub-Saharan Africa, which is amazing that I'm getting to talk to you guys as well here. The Youth Assembly helps to kind of showcase the work you are already doing in your communities locally on a global platform. It provides you kind of a voice where you can literally take a mic and talk about what you're doing in front of hundreds of other young people, as well as experts from various sectors. So you can certainly get opportunities to showcase the work you're doing as a young leader at platforms like the Youth Assembly. And we do have, in this past Youth Assembly, we had virtual opportunities as well, if you're not able to come to New York City in particular. But yeah, so that is an opportunity that's available for any of you who are interested in attending the Youth Assembly as a global platform. You would just go to our website, it's youthassembly.org, and apply for our next Youth Assembly. So the next event is going to take place in August 2026. I know it's like a whole year from now, but we just ended our event this past a few days ago, actually. But aside from that, if you just go to Youth Assembly at afs.org, you'd be able to see all of the other ways that you can be involved. There are various virtual programs that are happening outside of the event. There's a global leadership program that's going to be taking place in December, most likely. So feel free to take a look at youthassembly.org. I think I said that incorrectly just a minute ago, but it's youthassembly.org, and I can put it in the chat as well, so you guys have that website link and just look into it. And you can also send an email to our team if you have something that is of interest that you'd like to ask more about.
Okay. Thank you very much for the feedback. So I'll just quickly read 2 more questions so you can take them at once before we proceed. All right, there's a question on how to build collaboration and gain sponsorship from other fields of life. That's one. And then someone also is asking, I run a youth-driven initiative currently organizing a free skill-up program for youths. Please, how can I source for the right partners for sustainability? Yeah, so those are the 2 categories of questions for this section. Yeah, thank you.
In terms of, in terms of partnerships, I think it goes back to that point that you raised as well earlier. It was the RRT that we talked about, the reading, the researching, and talking to as many people as you can about the work that you're doing. Many times we'll sit down on our computer and just research people or organizations, and it all just goes in a Google Doc somewhere and we forget about it. So it's really important to take whatever you're researching or learning, through your computer, to talking to someone about it. So make that a mandatory second step. Go and speak to someone who you feel like might know something about the topic you're working on, someone at your school or university. If you're no longer studying, someone you can even attend events that are happening locally. I know there's many NGOs or other types of organizations that are doing events and across Africa in many parts. So feel free to look into what other events are happening. Who can I speak to at that event that might be interested in what I'm doing? So always trying to find people to talk to about your interests and the work that you'd like to do really helps you come down to which type of partners I can now build. Building those relationships are really key to finding the right partners. So you can't, and many times we feel like, we'll just send a bunch of emails to partners online and say, I'd like to partner with you. And half the times that does not really work well because many people don't know you. So it's really important to build those relationships, find people to talk to in person as much as you can. Even request Zoom meetings with people that you feel like you'd like to learn more about or work with. But yeah, that's a little bit on the partnerships that I like to talk about. What was the other question, if you want to remind me of that?
Yeah, the other one has to do with collaboration and finding partners for sustainability. Yes.
Yeah, I think I answered that already right now. So the partnerships and the collaboration goes back to just being able to talk to as many people as you can about what you're doing. And it could even start from the people here in this meeting today. So here in the chat, I see a lot of people already connecting, which is great. Connect here, but also take those conversations further with those people and just sometimes you're talking to people who might be youth leaders, doing similar things or in your similar age group. And that's fine. It's a really nice place to be able to bounce back ideas, brainstorm together, and see what you can learn from each other. There's always something that each of us are bringing to the table. So just know that and find those positive things in each other to start with.
Interesting. Thank you very much for the amazing feedback. Time would not permit to answer all the questions that are coming in, but I must say it's been a really insightful section. And the key takeaway surrounding a lot of the questions is still read, research, and talk to as many people as you can. Be strategic in your partnership and in the way you tend to discuss your passion and vision to people, and organizations. Thank you very much. We truly appreciate your time and insight. It was really, really impactful. Thank you. All right. All right, I think we'll just move to the next on the agenda. Yeah. So all right. So next on the agenda would be, we want to know our audience as a whole. We want to know the group of people we have on the call. So in one word, just a word, if you are to categorize yourself as a change maker, if you have to tell you, we know you're change makers, but what is that one word that describe you? When we see you, what does that inform people? What comes to your mind? Okay, yeah, the LinkedIn, you can connect with Yumna Khan on LinkedIn. It's on the chat. Yeah. All right. So is that one word that comes to your mind as a change maker to describe yourself? Kindly drop it in the chat. Okay, said focus. All right, leadership, empowerment, innovator, innovation, advocator, determination, passionate, climate journalist, problem solver, empowerment, rebuilder, interesting, SDG 6 advocates, nice, change maker, impact, amazing, amazing, keep them coming. A leader, yes, a leader, catalyst, interesting, change maker, advocator seems to be taking the lead. Okay, problem solver, revolutionalist, reformative, climate smart aquaculture developer, interesting. Keep them coming, keep them coming. Trailblazer, I like that. Trailblazer, interesting. Innovator. Purpose-driven, interesting, interesting. I saw something. Problem solver and peacemaker, amazing, amazing. Training and resourceful, purposeful people. Thank you all very much. So we are short of time and we'll quickly move on to our next thing on the agenda, which is introduction of the Nigeria SDG Changemakers report by our network coordinator, Emmanuel Ola Olowoyo, who will be coming up now to take over the section. Thank you very much. Over to you, sir.
And thank you so much for that insightful keynote, Yumna. We sincerely appreciate. I know it's been a busy week for you over there, but coming around to speak to us means so much to us, and we really appreciate you. And to all our YouTube participants, I can see a lot of people there as well. Jonathan, Joyce, Opera, Yemi, Sadiq. I know we have change makers, passionate leaders, advocates, and Yemi said the voice. He has been typing the voice, the voice, the voice. Yeah, we'd like to know, and yeah, I know that sounds, it's a movement. That word, the voice, is a movement, and we'd like to know and see the great work you're doing. Then Blessing Bassi, Peseta, both thinkers, very, very great ones. Okay, I'm just here to quickly speak about the Nigerian SDG Changemakers report. And this evening, I'm just going to, why am I saying evening? Okay, maybe for the sake of those who are in other climes, I definitely know that some of us are joining from all other countries. And to all our network coordinators joining this evening, thank you all for joining. It's so good to have you all on the call. Yeah, so I'm just going to briefly share information about the Nigerian Sustainable Development SDG Solutions Report. And we want to believe that most of us have seen this, and it's a call which we actually released earlier this month for great change makers like you across your respective communities. For now, this is limited to Nigerians, just Nigerians, and this is an annual publication created by SDSN Youth Nigeria, basically to spotlight and amplify the voices. I think, let me I'm using the word, borrowing the word from the voice the other time. Amplify the Voice is an innovation and solution developed by great change makers like you. And definitely we know that you've been advancing the SDGs, and our role as an organization is to spotlight and also to showcase the great work which you're doing. And this report's going to serve as a national repository of youth-led organization and youth-led, youth-focused development solution, showcasing your great stories of resilience, creativity, impact, innovation across the 6 geopolitical zones. And like I earlier mentioned, we look forward to highlighting your scalable solutions, which has been tackling issues around climate change, health, looking at gender equality, agriculture, across different sectors which you've been working. And also, we hope that this is going to inspire some policymakers and also donor and private organization to see the great work you're doing and also get to support what you're doing. So the call is for you to get to submit your organization information or initiatives, what you've been doing. We want to know a clear description of your initiative and the SDG which you are focusing on. There must be a particular SDG, maybe quality education, SDG 4, affordable and clean energy, SDG 7, or maybe decent work and economic growth, SDG 8, or maybe sustainable cities and communities, SDG 11, whichever of the SDGs which is being focused on. And a part of that is also you telling us the impact of your solution, which you've bet for maybe some years ago. We want to know how many people has been impacted directly and indirectly. These are just figures that we need from you, and also a picture and evidence of what you've been doing. And this will help us to showcase what each and everyone have been doing across their respective states and country. And we are excited that, yes, as we speak, we have closely 600 submissions. And definitely, I know the project and strategy team are now on top just to get to review. The application call, as you can see on my screen, the application call is going to close today. So please, if you are yet to fill that and complete that form, you can just go to bit.ly/call for NYSR in title case. So please ensure you do that before midnight. I'm very sure by midnight, the form is not going to be accessible again. And like I said, this is an annual publication that we always launch at SDSN to spotlight and celebrate the great work which you're doing. And once again, we want to celebrate and congratulate each and every one of you. And like I said, it's still in the due time for me to wish each and every one happy International Youth Celebration. Thank you very much. I think over to you, Oluwatoyin.
Thank you, sir, for sharing the updates on the Nigerian Youth Solutions report. And yes, this is a platform for us to showcase the innovations that young people are doing in different parts of the country. So please kindly take this good opportunity to fill in the form before it closes. And it also helps to track the progress and advancement in SDGs in the country as a whole. Thank you very much. All right, so we can save time. We'll have to move on to the next thing on the agenda. We'll be having our panel section now, where we'll be having our amazing guest speakers and different network coordinators. And this section will be coordinated by Cynthia Ikeka, will be coming up on shortly to anchor the section, and I trust that you all are going to get the very best. Thank you very much, and we acknowledge you all for staying to this time. Participant from YouTube as well, thank you all for joining in. Thank you all so much. All right, over to you, Cynthia. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, the speakers, the participants. I'm very pleased to be here today. I'm moderating a very special and much needed panel session, which is titled which is titled Cross-Border Youth Collaboration, Breaking Barriers Through Partnership. We all know that youth already in Africa, in Nigeria, all over the world is doing amazingly well. But sometimes we are being shortchanged with visibility. You know, it is one thing to put efforts in making the country, the space, the world a better place. Another thing for the actions taken to, you know, get to a wider reach. So that is why this particular panel session is very important. And it is one that we are not just going to listen to our speakers speaking to us today. We also need to, like, you know, give our own thoughts, give our own opinions and suggestions and experiences as well, what we have, you know, experienced so far as a youth in Africa, the changes we've tried to make, and how, you know, not getting visibility has formed a greater limitation to that. So without further ado, if you have questions, like during the course of this panel session, please do well to drop your questions on the chat, right? Because we'll be taking questions. Like I said, this is meant to be very interactive. It's more like a forum, so it's not a sit-down, listen kind of seminar. It is one that will allow you to participate and participate fully. So I'm going to be introducing the speakers in no particular order. The very first person we have here is Mr. Johnny Kajo Harford. Johnny Kajo Harford is an educator and disability inclusion specialist with an MPhil in special education from the University of Education, Winneba, with expertise in Ghanaian and American sign language, autism, and inclusive education. He has served as a research fellow, SDSN Youth Network Coordinator for Ghana, and advocate for persons with disabilities. His work spans teaching, research, and he happens to be a certified sign language interpreter. Johnny has presented internationally on disability rights and inclusive practices. Passionate about accessible education, he collaborates with schools, NGOs, and UN initiatives to promote equity and a keen advocate for SDGs. Please, let's make a warm welcome, and let's welcome Johnny Harford to this particular panel. It is pleased to have you, Johnny, if you are in this call right now.
Thank you very much, Cynthia, for having me. I'm very grateful. Thank you.
Yeah, it's a pleasure having you. I'm most honored, Johnny. So the next person we have here in the panel is Michael. Michael Kishonyan is a dedicated youth advocate for public speaker and trainer with over 6 years of experience in leadership, community mobilization, and youth empowerment. He currently serves as the network coordinator for SDSN Youth Kenya, where he promotes sustainable development and youth-led innovation. As a member of the UNFPA Kenya Youth Advisory Panel, Michael plays an active role in advancing policies and programs on sexual and reproductive health and rights, with a strong focus on meaningful youth participation. He is the founder of Ereto Nadupa organization, a grassroots initiative based in Narok County that works to end female genital mutilation, promote climate action, support economic empowerment, and champion youth-centered development. Please, let's make welcome Michael Kishonyan to the panel, please. Michael, do we have you here?
Yes, thank you so much, Cynthia. Glad to be here.
It's a pleasure having you. Thank you for being here. The last person, but not the least, is Kamagano Setono. He is the network coordinator of the newly launched SDSN Youth South Africa. He is a passionate advocate for youth empowerment and sustainable development, currently pursuing a PhD in leadership at the University of Pretoria, with a research focus on youth leadership development for sustainability. Kamagano was also part of a 2-year exchange program with Humboldt University in Germany, where he engaged in collaborative research and initiatives on the SDGs and community development. With a strong background in leadership, theology, and community development, he brings both academic depth and practical experience to his work. He is deeply committed to justice, equity, and transformation, using his platform to inspire and equip the next generation of change makers across South Africa and beyond. Please let's make a warm welcome to Kamagano Setono, the Network Coordinator, SDSN Youth South Africa. It is our pleasure to have you here. Okay, thank you so much to all our panelists. It is an honor. We are absolutely honored to have you today, being part of this much needed panel discussion in this age and time. So we're going to move forward we're not going to waste our time. We're going to move forward to asking some vital questions that will bring to the limelight the youth actions, locally, influenced youth actions that have been in place right now, and how these actions can even be made more better by collaborations. Like I heard someone say when our keynote speaker was speaking, someone dropped a comment that it is collaboration over competition, which I agree so much with. It is high time youth stopped competing, seeing themselves as competition, but see themselves as people that can come together, and make a positive impact, not just in your country, but also across the globe, more or less having a wider reach for whatever impact you're trying to make to the society. So hence this panel discussion or session today. And like I said, if you have questions, please do well to drop them on the chat. If you have questions to ask, if you have comments, if you have suggestions, anything at all, just do well to drop it on the chat. And I know that our panelists will be more than happy to attend to all of them. Yeah, so the first question we have is, and this question is directed to all the panelists, the three of them here today. The question is, when we talk about local youth actions for the SDGs, what exactly does this mean in practice? So when we'll be hearing local youth actions for the SDGs, so we'd like to know what exactly it means. What does this mean? So I would like to call on Johnny first to answer the question. Please, over to you, Johnny.
I thought you said in no order, but you are making it in order now.
No, sorry, your name came up first in my head. Well, in no particular order.
That's fine. Well, my thoughts in practice, local youth actions are not about large or funded projects with international logos. I believe they are about hyper-local, context-specific solutions which are conceived and executed by young people. And this is in line to address a direct need in the community that probably aligns with the global goals. Remember, the global goal is the main benchmark of whatever we are doing. So these actions call to youth is a grassroots innovation in its purest form. So let's say if you take a scenario like in Niger Delta region, Nigeria, you realize there's a group of environmental scientists who graduated noticed that the frequent oil spills were destroying the farmland, which affected the SDG 2, the zero hunger, and I think SDG 15, which talks about life on land. So what was the local action that they did? They didn't go on a protest, but they created a solution. And per the solution, they researched and they began to train local farmers on the phytoremediation. Also, they used specific local plants like the sunflower, the vetiver grass to absorb hydrocarbons from the soil. In this, they were able to set up community nurseries for these plants and taught farmers how to use them to make sure they detoxify their land over time. So these actions that we call is practical. They use available resources and a transferable, sustainable knowledge directly into the community. So it's not just about having the large numbers, but having a wall cut out of plans to make sure these things are achievable and sustainable. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much, Johnny, for sharing such insight with us. Like I said, the questions are directed to everybody, all the panelists. So I would like to call on Michael to also give us his own thoughts on what these local actions, influenced by the youth actually mean.
Okay, thank you so much, Cynthia, and good evening, good afternoon, and greetings, everyone.
Thank you so much, Michael. I mean, Michael has already spoken, Johnny has already spoken, and there's still one thing in common: the youth solving problems, identifying the problems in the society, in the community where they are, and trying to provide solutions to that. So we are still going to hear from Kamagano before we move on to the next questions. Kamagano, please, over to you.
Can you hear me? Just
yeah,
to double check. Good. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kamagano Setono. I am currently in Boksburg, South Africa, attending the youth engagement of the G20. And I think the exposure to young people here also informs what I think the purpose of today is about. So for me, when I think about local youth action, I think about the way young people are stepping into leadership where they are using what they have to respond to challenges around them. In practice, this looks like, young students starting a recycling program on campus. It looks like a young-led or youth-led organization in rural communities offering after-school tutoring for learners who don't have access to extra lessons. It also looks like young entrepreneurs using digital tools to connect, farmers to the market, as well as other students to other young entrepreneurs. So in its essence, it's about ownership. Young people and the youth are not waiting for instructions or large institutions to move first. We are saying we see the need and we are mobilizing our creativity, our energy, and also the resources that we have to act. These actions may be small in scale compared to government programs, but they are deeply rooted in community realities. That grounding makes them powerful as well as sustainable, and that's why they matter so much for the SDGs. So young people are at the center, and young people have the solutions to the problems that they encounter in their communities. And also it takes them to make the decision to solve these problems. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kamagano. I mean, there was something striking that you said. You said that young people do not wait for instructions or large institutions to move. I think I agree so much with that. We young people have a way we do our things. We tend to like change a lot of narratives, change to like deviate from what the status quo is already to, invent new ways that we can do things uniquely. I think that's a very good point as well. Just like Johnny and Michael also have made really fantastic points here. So we are all going to also start with you in the for the second question. But before that, I would like to reiterate again, please, if you have questions for any of our panelists, do well to put them in the chats. If you have questions, comments, or anything that it is. I already see people connecting, let's connect here, let's connect that. That's the idea. You people are already collaborating in the chats, and it is quite impressive. So Kama, Daniel, please, based on what you said, right? So what are such localized youth-driven efforts? Why are such youth-driven efforts essential for advancing the SDGs? And what unique value do young people bring at the community level that larger institutions often cannot bring? We want to just know why are these youth-driven efforts very essential? Why are they necessary? And are there any unique value that young people bring to the table or at the community level that larger institutions often cannot?
I think that's an interesting question. Because one thing about larger institutions, right? They never get to the grassroots. They never get to understand what the community actually needs, So youth-led actions are essential because the SDGs are not abstract targets. They are about people's daily lives. And I think also we need to bring this reality as well to young people, that achieving the SDGs is not really such of a abstract target or something that even is unattainable to some extent. And I think even in South African communities, this is what we have seen, is that there's a lot of things that young people are doing, but because they are not so much well vested into the SDGs, they would think that it's not linked to it. But already, if you look at what they are doing, it does touch on a few SDGs. So now it needs, or we then need to go into these communities and train them on how then to align their efforts with SDGs. So larger institutions often operate at a higher level, and while they have resources and they have the capacity, they may not always understand the everyday realities of people in small town, people in villages, or people in townships. That's one thing about large institutions. Sometimes one would say very, very detached from the realities of the people. So what young people bring is proximity. Young people live in these communities. Young people understand the struggles of the community because these are also their struggles. So we often experience also these problems as well. So we are not detached from the problem. So we experience the problem and we bring the solution. So that gives us a sense of agency and authenticity, right? We also bring innovation as young people. We are not bound by this is how it has always been done. We experiment with new models, especially using technology and creativity. And finally, we bring energy and long-term stake. We are not only solving problems for today, we are investing in the kind of society we want to live in 20 or 30 years from now. So while large institutions can scale youth-led initiatives, young-led initiatives can root the SDGs in everyday life. And without that rooting, even the most well-funded programs risk missing their mark because they never address the actual problem that communities are facing, but rather, ticking the box because we have done 1, 2, 3 as these big organizations. So young people bring proximity into the table. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kamagano. You said all that we're not detached from these problems. We experience a problem and we offer solutions or provide solutions to them. Thank you so much, Kamagano, for such a fantastic insight. So we are just going to move ahead to the next questions, and we are going to be asking Michael this time around. So Johnny, you can see I'm not in no particular order. I'm observing that right now. So yes, I'm going to the next question. We'll be going to Michael, and the question is, from your country's perspective, can you share a concrete example of how young people are driving impact through local SDG related initiatives? Michael, over to you, please.
Yes, thank you so much, Cynthia. And just I would like to really thank Kamagano for really putting in perspective about how important the youth-led organizations are to the community. And so also to answer your question about sharing concrete examples, I started by mentioning about a young lady from Kenya who is doing good work in terms of empowering the community on issues to do with economic empowerment and also climate action. If you try to look, or maybe if you try to follow her story, is that she had issues to do with clean water, accessing clean water. The whole community, cows, donkeys, everything, like plus human beings, even wild animals, all share this particular water. And so like people like Ruth came out strongly to educate their community on sustainable ways to consume clean water. And you try to see the enthusiasm that these young people have in terms of creating the change in the community. And right now, as we speak, the community is adapting to new changes of accessing clean water and also matters to do with food security, because some things go hand in hand: food security, water, and climate. So you find that she comes from an area that is considered as an ASAL. An ASAL is like those areas that do not receive rain. And so how can this community survive? They cannot rely solely on relief food. So this community has to depend on itself. And so people like Ruth are really educating the community and empowering them in terms of food security. Another thing is also organizations like Ereto Nadopa, as you saw, they are reaching out to the community. We have issues that are affecting the community here in Kenya. Number one, the pastoralist communities face a lot of challenges to do with gender inequality, especially female genital mutilation. And through this or maybe this youth-led organization, we've been able to reach out to around over 25,000 people in a span of 1.5 years, just trying to teaching them about alternative rites of passage, social behavior change, and etc. Leave alone now the social media and the media, the leveraging on media. Like, it's a lot. The young people are really doing a lot. This week I was talking also to one young lady who is also from Nyandarua County, and she is also teaching her community on matters sustainable agriculture, championing also mental health. How is mental health related to agriculture, food security, and climate action and climate change? I mean, so young people are really doing a lot of things here in Kenya in regards to advancing sustainable development. And I also want to say that by engaging community gatekeepers, and also leveraging on peer-to-peer education, young people are really shifting the narratives about some of these things. Sometimes you find that our parents are not that learned, our grandparents are not that learned. They are not tech savvy. So like some of these things, they miss some of these things. For example, knowledge about sustainable development goals. And young people are there to advocate and also teach the community in terms on matters to do sustainable development. As I finish, I say that young people are also coming out strongly to be peer or maybe mentors to the upcoming generation. You find that, like recently, since last year, the Gen Z movement here in Kenya has really shifted a lot of things in the country. And you find that everywhere you go, like in every office, in all the organization, they are now recognizing the impact of the Gen Zs here in Kenya. So you go to an office, you're asked, are you a Gen Z? Yes. Come and show us how you want us to do these things. So you see that also young people are there to shape the policies in Kenya. So like a lot has changed in terms of youth involvement in issues to do with sustainable development. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Michael. I mean, I'm also happy that the Gen Zs are pulling weight in Kenya, because in Nigeria, Gen Zs are taking over. In social media, in the workplace, everybody keeps talking about Gen Zs and all of that. So it's good to know that Gen Zs are not just doing all of this in Nigeria, like it's all over the country. They are being noticed, and I mean, they can never go unnoticed anywhere they find themselves. That's really a fantastic one. I'm also very happy to learn that, Kenyan youth are doing a lot. You made mention of the water accessibility to like good water, which was even done by a Kenya lady. You made mention of reaching over 5,000 people, I guess, on the 5,000 or so social behavior change and a lot of things. So that means youth are really doing they are doing marvelously well in Kenya, and it's very good to know. I think maybe before the end of this panel, we can also explore how collaboration can be done, amongst these youths in the different countries in Africa, to see how this can be taken further. I mean, if you did not mention this, I wouldn't have known that the Kenyan lady is making water accessible in Kenya, right? That's where the collaboration comes in, so that there will be a wider reach for these fantastic jobs that the youth are doing all over the country. So yeah, Johnny, it's time to have your own insight on how can youth and youth-led organizations overcome the major challenges they face in sustaining and scaling their local initiatives. I think to even answer this, we have to even learn, or you have to tell us the major challenges that you think the youth are facing in sustaining and scaling their local initiatives, and how can these challenges be conquered. Johnny, over to you.
Cynthia, thank you very much. I'm glad you're back to me. So I think the basic or the primary challenge we face as youth is diversity. Sometimes we fail to appreciate the background of those we work with, the ethnic space, the gender disparities, and the socio-economic factors. So our diversity is one of our greatest assets, but it can also be a great challenge. So when we look in this topic, the cross-border project, where we may encounter people with different traditions, values, and languages. So assuming I am friends with you, Cynthia, and I can call you at any time or any hour to prompt you, I've sent you an email, then you check on me for me. I may not necessarily have that space or that rapport with either Mickey or Kama or Ima. So that is something we need to pay much attention on as youth. And I've been able to join Road Tracks for some time. And I realized that differences indeed enrich collaboration rather than its hindrance. The language is there, the timing is there, but all these things, when we know how to work on them, we control these factors, it really boosts our, or it limits the time that we come across. And if you don't appreciate the diversity, there's so much untapped potential in the youth. I had a chance to speak with the Chancellor of Germany, and what he told me was there's so much youth in Africa, and he wished he was a president in this country. Because his country, there are so much of the old age as compared to the youth. But here we are undermining our potentials because many young people have innovative and brilliant ideas that could solve pressing issues. However, in regardless of these, the ideas often remain unrealized because we lack access to critical resources. We don't have the exposure. There are funding shortages, there are limited access to tools, and there are insufficient technical expertise, which are common and roadblocks. So without these essential traits, trust me, even the most promising concepts will indeed struggle to move from what is called paper to practice. And one challenge that I think is about visibility. When SDGs Youth Ghana set up, I was trying to work my way into some agencies to make sure they partner and collaborate. Trust me, just 2 out of 13, just to open their doors to me. So if this visibility is not there, the question is how then do we become visible? So often the challenge for young change makers isn't lack of skills or passion. No, we have the passion, we have the endurance. Is that their work is not seen beyond their immediate circles. So if Ima will be open to you, his visibility from the one that he became a network coordinator up to now, there's been a tremendous change. But the passions that he had, that's what is promoting this. So that visibility, even with the greatest ideas, can indeed struggle. So since I'm telling you that many youth-led initiatives, they never reach the international stage because their leaders lack access to networks, conferences, and platforms that could connect them with potential mentors. So with this being said, I think we can overcome these challenges by making sure we embrace diversity and we diversify revenue as well. Thus, we can develop some models that can combine grants with income generation activities that can sustain us. The key word is about sustainability. If the initiatives are there, if they're being well scaled, and there's no component of sustainability, whatever we build comes down. And there should be a strategic partnerships because we want to partner, we want to collaborate. We just see any other firm or organization. No, we must see which partner that has a local interest of what you are localizing. As Kamagana said, it should be within the central aim of what we want to do, because that's where the trust will be built. And lastly, I think we should be able to document in a proper systemization record. If we don't document whatever we do, we may not have the record to know, oh, we are from point A, now we are at point B. So we must be able to create a clear, replicable playbooks of the model that makes it easier for us to scale and franchise to other communities to help and adopt on our policies. Thank you very much. Hello, Cynthia. Are you there?
Yeah, thank you so much, Johnny. Thank you for that fantastic insight. I mean, you have mentioned a lot. You said something very striking. You said that diversity, in as much as it's the greatest asset, can also be like the greatest challenge, which I agree so much with. You talked about the lack of essentials, lack of, lack of exposure, and for the solutions to these challenges, you made mention of sustainability documentation, which I also find very interesting because right now documentation is very key, so as to even track your progress and know where you're getting it wrong and where you're getting it not you're getting it right. Yeah. So thank you so much, Johnny. We really appreciate your insight on the challenges and how to overcome that challenges. So we're going to go over to Mr. Kamagano once more. So Mr. Kamagano, I would like you to tell us how can the government, private sector, and development partners better support young people in sustaining their local SDG initiatives?
Quite an interesting question, and I think one that every young person should be aware of, and is that the starting point is to move away from tokenism, right? Too often young people are invited to speak at events, but they are not empowered to lead or co-create solutions. You find that young people are just invited just to tick the box, or rather to show that an organization is doing something with young people. So government must create an enabling environment. For example, making funding opportunities accessible for youth-led organizations, as well as integrating youth innovations into national policies and programs. This is also acknowledging that young people have leadership capabilities, that you really can trust a young person to lead. You can trust a young person to appoint that person at a government position. So the notion that young people lack experience and that you really cannot trust a young person or young people are transient, that they're always on the move. So you cannot really build something around a young person, and that's false. We really cannot be in a society where the youth is not trusted, because the society incorporates the youth. So what is the government doing without the youth being part of that? The private sector has even a bigger role, you know. They need to shift from one-time sponsorship to long-term incubation and investment in youth solutions. If the same way companies invest in startups, they invested in youth-led sustainability initiatives, we would see huge growth. And that's one thing we also see in most of these companies in South Africa, that, you know, corporates, they just fund and that's it. You know, they never follow up with these youth-led organizations. And I think for the purposes of sustainability and for the purposes of growth, that does not benefit young people at all. We need the corporate to play a part in not only giving the fund, but also helping young people to sustain the fund. Development partners must emphasize sustainability. Instead of funding projects for 1 year and leaving, they should prioritize mentorship, institutional strengthening, as well as, you know, continuity. Support shouldn't just be about giving money. It should be about building ecosystems that allow young people and their ideas to grow, to adapt, as well as to survive over time. So when these actors, the corporate as well as government, see youth not just as beneficiaries, but as partners. And that's what we are. We are partners, and not only beneficiaries. The landscape of youth-led SDG action will shift dramatically. And I think that's also the discussion even here in the Y20, where we are challenging the G20 leaders that we cannot be only at the receiving end of decisions, but we also need to make decisions. And I think that is a time for young people to really be straightforward and young people to be bold, and young people to have a strong opinion on these things. And I think from where I am and what I usually do, I'm known to be one who's very radical, one who's always challenging authority. But I think for people to move and for people to get to listen to the agency, we need to take ourselves serious and we need to voice ourselves. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kamagano. I think one thing you said that stood out for me was when you said that it is high time the government stopped just helping. It's not just about giving the money, but you have to like follow up consistently so as to ensure sustainability. Because oftentimes we see, you know, funds, grants being given to youth to start up one thing or the other, but at the end of the day, nobody follows up on them to know how the journey is going, to know the challenges they are facing, to know whether they're making progress. And that's like a challenge that we need to really address, not just by giving, but we have to follow up. Mentorship is very key. Thank you so much for that, Gano. So we're going to move over to the next question, and that is in addition to advancing the SDGs, how can youth-led collaborations contribute to building resilient communities, innovation, and long-term sustainable change? So this question is directed to Michael and Johnny. So let's start with Johnny first. Johnny, please, over to you.
All right. So thank you. How can youth collaborations contribute to resilient communities and long-term change? My personal view is cross-border collaboration will create a powerful network for shared learning that builds what we call something a systematic resilience. This will try to allow you to bypass inefficient systems and create their own ecosystem of innovation. So if you realize that the foundation being set for us is not good, we'll try to bypass that. Last, I was telling my people that you don't have to allow those who have 45 years, 50 years plus make decisions for us now. With normal life order, in the next 10 to 15 years, there will be no more living. Now, who will come to bear the consequences? So if youth comes together and we sing one song, we tune to one rhythm of dance, we can set up our own foundation, our own generation, and our own basis to make sure we survive. So let's take, for instance, that, let's say, a youth group in Ghana, we excel at making sure we turn organic waste into organic fertilizers, whereas Kenya also has mastered in the drought resistance farming technique. Also, a group in Nigeria has also been able to build a mobile application that connects smallholder farmers to the market. Now, these three initiatives, what do we do then? As purposeful youth, we must collaborate between these three to create a powerful resilience loop. You're saying that if I have any limitation as Ghana, I have to rely on Kenya. Kenya has a limitation, we rely on Nigeria, we rely on South Africa in that order. So if this resilience loop is built, then what happens? Now, in the same example I'm giving, the Nigeria application will make sure it advises Burkina, advise the farmers in Kenya on what crop is in demand, what crop is in trend now, what material they should use to make sure they harvest well in their farming. This same phase, the Ghanaian group will provide the fertilizers which have been converted within the waste manure to grow them robustly, whether in harsh conditions or in conducive conditions. So you see, after the harvest is then sold efficiently via the app that has been developed. So this collaboration will intend to build economic, agricultural, and digital resilience, which cuts across these borders, and thus creating a tangible, youth-driven value chain that will strengthen food security for the entire region. We are always advocating on how can we solve the zero hunger. The zero hunger can be solved through agriculture. The moment we all invest in agriculture, the next decade, hunger, if not eradicated, will come down maybe by 50 or 60%. So these things are what we can do to make sure we collaborate very well. We must set up our own pace. We shouldn't rely on the aged to make decisions that will impair or affect our future. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Johnny, for that. I like the way you give examples to explain your thoughts, right? So the things that Nigerians don't have, we can rely in our brother country, Kenya, South Africa, just as to make sure that everything is like a work in progress. That's a very fantastic one. Collaboration, like they said, is far more better than competition. It's not about who does it well. It's about the impact that is being made in the society. So youth should actually come together to collaborate and make things work. And at the end of the day, everybody takes the glory. That's a very fantastic one, Johnny, I must say. So let's hear from Michael. Michael, please give us some more insights on this collaboration and how it can be impactful, to the society.
Okay, thank you so much. Allow me to start from where Johnny has stopped and give a very practical example on how we've been able to collaborate as network coordinators for SDSN Youth in Africa. So I was running a program for young people, like capacity building youth-led organizations on certain topics. And I invited Johnny as a speaker. And then when South Africa Youth, SDSN Youth was being launched, Kamagano invited me as a speaker. And today, Emmanuel has invited me as a speaker and other young, the rest of the network coordinators. And let me tell you, if like Emmanuel could not facilitate this session alone, but bringing all of us here, the three of us, the three network coordinators around Africa, it has been very, very much instrumental. And I'm sure all of you, or some of you, or even one of you or two of you have been inspired by this. And so when we come together, a lot happens. If I was competing with Emmanuel or Kamagan or Johnny as a network coordinator for Kenya, there's nowhere I can go. But us coming collectively, we are impacting generations. So collaborations are so much important. I just want to add something to do with before you as an individual looks for collaboration. I usually tend to tell people to build capacity. I was just reading through the chats, like the chat box, and I'm seeing some of you are interested and passionate about SDG 1, SDG 5, SDG 6, and etc. So let me ask you, have you built capacity on that particular SDG? Have you done research about it? Like, do you really understand everything about it? The indicators, the targets, the challenges that are facing it, the opportunities that are there. That is very, very much important. So that when we come to exchange ideas, it will become easy for us to come up with solutions. Another thing is networking and partnerships. Of course, Johnny really brought out that very clearly. And then again, local solutions for local challenges. I'm sure in Jigawa states and Adamawa states in northern Nigeria, the challenges are not like they are not like that. The challenges are not similar to those in Zaria or even in the Plateau state. They are different. So I like to say that local solutions for local challenges. You don't have to do a big thing for you to say that you've made impact, but how are you using the available resources, solving the problem at that particular level where you are? For example, I'm seeing some litter, like a lot of dirt and litter around my place. I'll have to collect them, dispose them, and I've made impact there. So that is a local solution for a local problem. I do not have to, do a lot of things, a lot of planning and logistics for me to say that I've made impact. But the local thing, that's first step that you are taking is very, very important. And then just also to mention is building support networks like SDSN Youth. We have SDSN Youth Africa now, whereby all of us, the network coordinators across Africa, are there. So that's a support system, because African problems sometimes they are similar. So for me to reach out to Kamagano or Johnny or even Emmanuel, it will be easier for me to get a solution. And then lastly, just as I finish, Cynthia, is let the community lead for us to encourage what we call sustainability. At the end of the day, I will introduce a project, I'll introduce an innovation, and then after some time, I'll have to leave, or maybe I'll have to let other people lead. So let the community lead, involve the community, have community dialogues, go through the community gatekeepers. I'm not sure if Nigeria, we have chiefs, we have those people at the local level, leave alone the governors, the senators, and the presidents and MPs. But those local leaders who you can reach and who you know where they stay, those are the people that really work best. So let the community lead, and also it will encourage sustainability of these particular projects that we are doing. And by that, we'll be able to make a lasting solutions for our communities. Back to you, Cynthia.
Thank you so much, Michael, for also giving us that perspective about letting the community lead, going through the policymakers of the community, because at the end of the day, we have to carry the community along, because that's also where most of our sponsorship will come from. So yeah, we're out of time already. So I want to give each speaker 1 minute to wrap up, to answer this question, just a minute for all our panelists to answer the question. If you could leave one call to action for youth across Africa, what would it be to ensure that local actions, and cross-border partnership truly drive lasting change? Let's start from you, Michael. In just 1 minute, what would be your call to action in all these things that we have said today?
Thank you so much. I think I have one word, and then if you will allow me just to give my Ruth to say a word what she's doing for the community. One thing I like to say is act local and think global. Act local and think global. That's all I can say. Thank you so much. And maybe if time allows, we can give Ruth to say what she's doing on matters to do with water, clean water access. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for making that brief. I mean, for people that want to ask further questions, you can connect with Michael Kinshoyan on LinkedIn. He's there. Send your questions to him, and he'll be very honored to answer you. Because of time, I don't have time for that. But yeah, this conversation will continue, right? It's not like something that's ending today. We'll reach out definitely. I'm connecting with you after now, so we can talk more on that. So let's go back to Hamagano, please. Let's hear your call to actions in just 1 minute. All these things that have been said today, what is your call to action to youth across Africa?
Sure. I think for me, my call to action is this, right? Young people, we should not underestimate the power of our voice and of our networks. Too often, young people think they must wait until they have a big funding or a formal recognition to make an impact. But lasting change starts with 3 simple things: consistency, collaboration, and courage. So one must be consistent in showing up for their community, even if the action feels small. Collaborate widely, connect with your peers, because together our local actions form a continental force. And most importantly, have the courage to change systems that silence young people. Courage is contagious. When one young person speaks boldly, it gives permission for others to rise as well. So if African youth can commit to consistency, collaboration, and courage, then we will not just be leaders of tomorrow, we will be change makers of today. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for saying that. You say courage is contagious. I so much agree. It has happened countlessly in my country, right? I might not be able to speak, but hearing it from somebody else, from someone from another country, really means that's the fact, actually. So, Johnny, please over to you. Let's hear your own call to action.
Oh, thank you. My call to action is very simple. I would say we should stop building alone and we should start building upon. Our ideas are seed, and seed alone needs perfect conditions to grow. So you and I are the perfect conditions. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Johnny said our ideas are seed. Our ideas are seed. I know that our participants must have learned a whole lot today. Your ideas are seed. So don't make sure you plant it and water it because they will surely germinate. So we're going to take 1 or 2 questions because we are already we are really very far behind schedule. So we're just going to take very few questions. One of the questions, someone named Hazanu Amino asked, what remuneration or compensation does the federal government make of advocate change makers? I think he meant what remuneration or compensation does the government, federal government make or give to advocate change makers for easy collaboration with people within the community. Please, I don't know, that's his question. Maybe he didn't really specify the particular country this question is directed at, but so I'm just going to throw it open. What remuneration or compensation does the federal government give to the advocate change makers for ease of collaboration, right, with people within the community?
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much for that question, Cynthia. And I think let me just take that question while we get to move to the next session for the day. Remuneration, yeah, there are quite a lot of programs executed under the federal government of Nigeria, which I will love you, whoever that asked that question, please, you can just reach out to us. We'll be glad to provide some links. It's one thing that the resource team always share every Monday, and you see a lot of opportunities. Yes, because we're also trying to keep to our very short time which we have for this call, and I believe it's been an engaging session. And one of those good opportunities you see there is the very great opportunity you see around digital transformation, the Ministry of Digital Transformation and Communications. There are quite a lot of trainings which they've been doing around digital technology and quite a lot of opportunities. But most importantly, you must have something you're doing. You must have something you're doing, and documentation is key. I saw someone asking a question regarding business registration. You can never get an opportunity from the government if you don't have your organization, your initiative well registered. You don't have a very good impact story, your report and all of that. So, but we take that off the score and get to engage further. You can just reach out to any of the admins, or you can reach out to me anytime we provide that information. And thank you very much. Cynthia, I think I will leave it to you to do your appreciation to the panelists while we get to move on to the next session. Yeah,
thank you so much, Emmanuel. The panelists have been very awesome, each to every one of them, talking about Michael, talking about Magano, talking about Johnny. We really appreciate your insight on this particular theme because it means a lot to us as youth, as the driving force of our nation, of our various countries. It is, high time we came together and discuss on ways to, take this further, right? And I'm very glad that we all did justice to how we can collaborate and drive our actions, local youth actions to the next level. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Like I said, if you have any question for any of these panelists, their names are on the flyers. Please connect with them on LinkedIn, send them your questions, or you can also reach out to Emmanuel or any of the admins, and they will be very honored, absolutely honored to answer your questions. And I remain Cynthia Ikika, and I moderated this session. Please let's also connect on LinkedIn here. Thank you so much as we bring this panel section to an end. It was nice moderating this panel. Thank you so much, everyone. Please, over to you, Emmanuel.
Thank you, Cynthia. Thank you for the great moderation. Thank you for a different insight from the panelists and everyone that has contributed to this section. It's been really insightful, I must say. Yes, we are already short of time, so this section will make it very brief. It's the open mic section, but unfortunately, we are behind schedule because of time. So I'm going to be speaking the question out as well as typing it in the chat. So we'll use both simultaneously. So if you'll be willing to speak, we'll just take 1 or 2%, and then we'll have the remaining answers in the chat. So for this open mic section, we are having from ideas to impact. What do young people need to move beyond advocacy and drive lasting change for the SDGs? I'll come again. What do young people need to move beyond advocacy and drive lasting change for the SDGs? If you're willing to speak, please kindly use the Zoom to do a reaction or raise your hand, and then I'll call you on to speak. I'll also drop the question in the chat. Thank you. Please, you have to be very quick because we are, thank you, Mr. Emmanuel, for sharing the screen. All right, anyone? Let me check a participant. Someone's hand is raised. Okay, let me see. Please, if your hand is raised, kindly unmute and proceed to speak. Trying to get the person's name here. Okay, Lamidi Fat Ohinoi. You can, sorry if I didn't pronounce that correctly, but kindly proceed to speak. Thank you. Lamidi, if you can hear me, kindly proceed to speak. Okay, otherwise, Ruth Nasieko, if you can hear me, please proceed to speak. Thank you.
Thank you so much. My name is Ruth Nasieko, and beyond advocacy, young people need practical tools like mentorship and community-driven opportunities that create lasting change. For example, in my work with Nesula Accessory CBO and the Nalotesha program, we equip Maasai women and girls with climate-smart skills like agrivoltaics. Agrivoltaics is basically integrating solar panels with agriculture. We have water sanitation and kitchen gardening, while amplifying their voices through storytelling. So by combining hands-on solutions like this, local leadership and climate advocacy, since I'm into climate action, we turn awareness into real sustainable impact in our communities. Can you hear me?
Thank you, Ruth. Yes. Thank you very much for the feedback. Thank you for participating in this section. That was insightful. Thank you very much. All right, I'll call on one more person before we wrap this section up. Vivian Ofia, sorry, if you can hear me, kindly proceed to speak. Thank you. Vivian Ofia. Vivian Ofia, if you're on the call. All right. Otherwise, is Bisola. Okay, are you speaking, Vivian? Can see you've unmuted your mic. Okay. Think we're not able to hear you now. Bisola Akinlabi, if you're able to speak, kindly proceed to speak.
All right. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is. Can you hear me?
Sure, yeah, proceed. We can.
All right. So for me to move from ideas to impact from what they've said so far, I believe the first thing the person should do is to research about the SDG that they want to go for and the indicators on that route. So this way they'll be able to know what like the particular aspect that they'll be coming from for the SDG. And also they should do a need assessment within their local community so that they will know what they actually need, so that they will not be providing a solution for a problem that is not existent. And also they can begin their impact journey after finding what the problem is. and they should do proper documentation, like Mr. Emmanuel said earlier, that they should register with the CAC and everything. So take pictures, just make sure that you document your stories and have a place that you are keeping those documentation. Maybe your social media, you can have a website and things like that. So that will be like your evidence to show the impact that you're making. And talk to people. It is when you talk to people that people will know what you're doing. And continue to research and read about what you're doing so that you know what is in trend, and talk to people. It is when you talk to people, you know the people to collaborate with, you know the conferences to attend, and what's going on in your community. That's all from me.
All right, thank you, Priscilla. Thank you very much for the amazing insights. Vivian, are you able to speak now? Vivian Ophia, if you're able to speak now, please kindly proceed. While
Oluwatoyin, I think I'm going to raise a campaign for justice for men.
Okay.
I can see some men.
Yeah, I was going to call someone now. Yeah. I was going to call Ali, but I wanted to. I noticed she wanted to speak earlier, but I don't know if her mic is. She was unable
Let's
to.
have Ali,
Probably
please.
network
Let's have
issues.
a man,
then we'll wrap up.
Okay, Ali Makinta, kindly proceed. Yeah, if you can hear us, Ali Makinta, kindly proceed. Hello. I can see you've unmuted. Okay, while we await Ali Makinta, can we have Adura Gbemi Afolabi speak? Adura Gbemi Afolabi.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon. Yes, please. We can. Kindly proceed. Proceed. Looks like we have network issues. Oof. Okay. Please, if you're not able to speak, you can use the chat as well. Because I know that if we should proceed with the open mic, we have a lot of people who are willing to share one or two insights. Ali Makinta, are you able to speak now? I can see your hand is still raised. If you're able to speak, kindly unmute. Okay, because of time, we'll just wrap this section up. Okay. And we can just drop them in the chat. Yes. So we'll be bringing the forum to a close shortly with our closing remarks. And I must say a big thank you to everyone, to our moderators, our panelists, our keynote speaker, our network coordinators that took time out of their busy schedule to be here today to make impact, and the different youth from different states across the country. Thank you all so much for participating up to this stage. We really do appreciate your time, insight, and active contributions. Thank you very much. All right, over to you, Mr. Emmanuel.
Yeah, thank you very much. You already did the closing remarks. I'm just going to say something for those of us that are unable to share comments or opinions to the open mic. The social media team are going to drop that across the social media platform. You can go there to drop your opinion. We'd love to hear from you and to know how we can further achieve that. And once again, thank you, everyone. We look forward to the next edition of this great Nigeria SDG Changemakers Forum. And also to those of us that are still willing to spotlight and showcase our great initiative, you can get to use the link. And before midnight today, ensure you complete that registration form. And we are so delighted on behalf of the leadership of SDSN, Professor Odiaka, Ngozi Odiaka, and every other esteemed leader of the organization and also my network manager, Dr. Femi Oyeniyi, and the entire leaders of SDSN Youth Nigeria, and entire team that were able to work around this short period of time to put this great forum together. We want to say thank you all for joining. And it's also important I celebrate the entire team that were able to put all of this together and within the short period of time. And we believe that next year, like I said, it's going to be another more greater edition. Please do well and stay connected across our social media platform. And we hope to get to engage with you all and work with you all towards achieving a sustainable future. Enjoy the rest of your evening.